Portions of the following program may have been pre-recorded.
Warning, the following is entirely satirical and should not be taken as truth or fact. Styles Rebel Radio and the Rebel Podcast do not own any copyrighted material that may be included in this broadcast. Viewer discretion is advised.
How does 5G mix with Wi-Fi? Do we know?
Suspend the show right now.
You're gonna zipline directly into the harpoon?
Yeah.
What do you know about planes?
I know a lot about planes.
Buckle in, dude. It's gonna suck.
Put your hand on the screen.
How did they find out? Who was the one?
This show has gotten infinitely more gay.
The mystical land of New Jersey.
I don't understand how the laws in this country work anymore.
Welcome to the Rebel Radio Show, live, uncut, and uncensored on WSRR Radio. We're saving the underground music scene. To my right is Shayne.
Nope. That's not it.
On the board is Jules.
Hello.
Oh, I mean, I got my pantsies and my shoesies on too, and off air.
Shayne, you're looking different.
I feel different. You know,
Some would say you're looking like a Harvard grad.
but I'm not a flight attendant.
No, he never will be.
And but
That's harder.
welcome back to Off Air. I'm
Nope.
Shayne.
Mm-mm.
and-
Incorrect.
Oh,
Jake Underwood's here.
hello.
We're missing Shayne. I don't know where he went.
I miss you, Shayne.
We miss you, Shayne.
Well, yeah, we put the Amber Alert out. That's why
Yeah.
your phone went off earlier.
It's been 24 hours, so,
yeah.
you know, we're waiting. We're playing the waiting game now.
Right. We're just waiting.
We reached out to Big Milk. They still haven't gotten back to us about the pictures.
Yeah. I heard he's in the UK.
He would never.
We're about to make headline news again, huh?
Yeah, I heard he's in the UK. He's
Well,
over there.
Let's not spread that around.
He was
Let's
gonna-
not talk too much about
He was going to
that.
use the crosswalk, but they don't call it a crosswalk. It's like a cross zebra.
I don't think that's what they could. They could be. They're fucking dumb.
I think it's a zebra. I really.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it is. It's a
It's
zebra.
zebra.
It's not a zebra. It's a
Yeah.
zebra because
Zebra.
it's Zed.
So he went over there and got some water and was crossing over the zebra. And I think he got lost because he was trying to get back to the airport, but they probably don't call it an airport there. It's probably like the place where planes go bye-bye. And he
That's
can't
what it
figure
is,
that
actually,
out,
yeah.
And, so he's lost.
So if you've seen Shayne, 216-859-8699.
Where did you last see him?
Yeah.
Call and leave a voicemail.
Let us know.
They'll play it next week.
Let us know where you've seen Shayne. We're concerned.
Right.
We want to make sure he has more. Last I saw, he only had a pack of Fruit Stripe and a Red Bull. So, you know, I'm a little. He doesn't even like Red Bull that much, so I'm a little
No.
concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard he was really upset that WWE brought Prime on as a sponsor.
That's what it is. Yeah,
And he couldn't.
I haven't heard from
couldn't
him
deal with
since. He started walking away,
it.
and
Yeah.
he wasn't even on Fortnite. Yeah.
That's when you know it's serious.
Yeah. Again, if you've seen Shayne, 216-859-8699. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
little bit different of a show today, apart from Shayne being missing.
Yeah.
We're just gonna kind of talk about a couple broader topics, and I'm ready for you guys hit 200 and you're gonna change the show now, and that's how. Fuck you. We're gonna.
Yeah,
talk
he's
about
not
some
coming
broader
back. They're
topics.
changing it forever.
Yeah, Shayne's gone.
It's gone. Everything you've known for the last 200 episodes, gone.
That's right. It's a lot louder now too.
Right? Sorry about that. I'm putting her to work.
No, so there was something that happened. 3 days ago? 4 days ago now?
Yeah.
About a week ago. The
About a week ago.
cyber attacks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are they cyber attacks?
I don't know. I think there was just like a glitch.
So I have T-Mobile for internet for my phone as well.
Mhm.
T-Mobile was one of the ones that were hit because they ping off AT&T
It did
towers.
affect you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So
Interesting.
then you not get affected.
I did not.
So
I'm Verizon, though.
But I have AT&T and I didn't get infected by the AT&T blip.
So this was, I want to say Tuesday, this happened. And it was probably around noon, 1 o'clock. There was a mass outage for Facebook, Meta, Instagram.
Oh, they went out again. AT&T was a part of that?
Yeah, AT&T was also part of that.
See, I didn't. Oh,
So, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
You're right. Let me backtrack. Because a week
Okay.
prior to that.
I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the one that happened
right.
before that.
A week or
Okay.
so prior to that, there was an AT&T outage.
Yeah.
Which, strangely enough, I got an email I got an email through work because I guess they use AT&T. And I got a separate email to my personal, which was interesting because I don't use AT&T for anything. But T-Mobile pings off their towers. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, maybe that's what it was. Wasn't affected. I heard people were having issues not only with Wi-Fi, but with cell service with AT&T.
Okay.
So that was about a week and a half ago now. This past Tuesday, was when Meta, Instagram, AT&T again went out. Google was having issues. I guess YouTube had them in the early start of it too.
Yeah. So how many times did you try to reset your Facebook password when it wouldn't let you in?
I was asleep.
How many times did you try to reset your Facebook password?
Didn't reset my password?
I did twice.
Did you?
So it was weird with me because I had made a comment
Yeah.
on a post on something that I posted that people were kind of upset about. And
Jake, you would never be
right.
controversial.
It wasn't even that controversial, to be honest. But
It was Roman should go over Cody.
stop, don't. No. And somebody commented on it, and I felt bad because I thought I had pissed the dude off
Yeah.
with my response.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't let me in, and I'm like,
You thought you were in Facebook jail?
I did. And I didn't even say anything that bad. I'm like, dude, seriously? Because it was 2 minutes later. To the point I was calling mutual friends of ours, and I'm going, I think I might have pissed this guy off. And they're
you
like,
thought he came after your account.
yeah, and they're like, I don't know, so and so isn't like that. I think you're okay. And
Yeah.
then he's like, well, why do you think that? And I told him, they're like, dude, Facebook's been down for like the last hour. And I'm like, oh,
That's funny.
Okay.
So I had a similar situation.
Okay.
So I didn't reset my password, but and it was same thing where I was on Facebook. I had it open. I was watching TV or whatever, and I was just kind of scrolling through Facebook. Closed my phone, put it down, picked it back up to go back on Facebook, and it was on the login screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh. My first thought was 2 weeks ago we got banned from Facebook. So I'm like, shit. Now they're banning my personal account
Yeah.
from Facebook for good because could not log in, put in my password. I'm like, maybe I got my password wrong. Try a couple
Right.
different ones. Couldn't get in. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll come back to this. I'll fucking reach out, which if you've ever tried to reach out to Facebook support,
good luck.
damn near impossible.
Meta support.
Yeah.
Thank you for reaching out to Meta support.
So I'm like, well, I'm not, it's not a big deal right now. I'll figure it out. Maybe, something's going on.
Right.
But then I went on Instagram, and my personal Instagram worked perfectly fine. The Styles Rebel Radio Instagram would not load a single thing.
Interesting.
So that's where I'm like, oh, maybe it is just them going at the account again because
Right.
the account was suspended. We can't do live video on Facebook anymore.
Right.
So I'm like, maybe it is just like someone took another step further and reported us again for something. So that was my first thought.
So wait, what is this streaming live on?
YouTube. Styles Rebel Radio on YouTube.
Wow. What was that channel one more time? So I can make
Styles
sure I
Rebel
follow?
Radio on YouTube. Or, of course, you can listen live every Monday on the Live 365 app. That's WSRR Radio.
Wow.
Of course, dude. Just
All those options to follow along.
worldwide. You can take us with you anywhere you go.
Worldwide.
It's the best independent music all in one place.
It reminds me of the place I used to work.
Nah. This
Oh.
place is better.
Oh.
But no, that was my first thought was, yeah, it's probably something with the account, right?
Yeah.
Rarely do I use Twitter. I'm not a big Twitter guy. I'm not a big X guy.
Right.
He gave it to me. He died. But the thing is, went on Twitter, and Twitter had no issues. Twitter was buzzing about Facebook being
Right.
down.
It's almost like the same companies all use the same servers.
Right.
It's almost like the power grid that it can only take so much. And if you want to keep adding things to it, like, I don't know, let's say outlawing gasoline powered vehicles by a certain year, it's almost like that's going to be overloaded and then it's going to stop working. It's almost like if T-Mobile, AT&T, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, which is stupid.
Yeah, Threads sucks.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
And all of these different websites, if they're all using the same server, it's almost like you're set up to crash.
Right.
It's weird.
So initially,
Very strange.
of course, everyone wants to jump to conspiracy. They're all Facebook's broken. I'm locked out of Facebook. Hashtag fix Facebook or whatever
I was
the fuck
so
it was.
excited. I thought it was crashing forever. And
Dude.
I'm like, let it burn. Let it.
Twitter was down for like 3 days that one time, and everyone's like, "Oh, Twitter's over. This is it." I was so happy.
I honestly, I saw a video today on TikTok. But
Yeah,
social media.
I think TikTok was another one that was affected.
probably. But I saw where it was a 36-year-old teacher. And she's a millennial.
Mhm.
So she's talking about Gen A.
Jedi.
Gen A, but Gen Alpha, and how
Big
they
Forrest Gump
act
fan
in
she was.
school,
Mhm.
and how you cannot control them. Apparently, this next generation coming up, they are all legitimate shitheads.
That makes sense.
It's bad.
To what degree? Like, what do you mean?
Like the teacher walks into the room and goes, all right, everybody have your seat. And they go, you can't fucking tell us what to do at like 10.
That tracks.
At 10.
That tracks.
So like I was watching it because, and usually I'm not one to sit there and watch people complain about their job. But I mean, this is a woman who's sitting there, she's going, I've been a teacher for like 12 years. You can tell the difference from 5 years to now.
Sure.
In the way that the kids are acting. This is the generation that has been raised on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all of these things where there is no consequence for what you say in certain areas of the world.
Well, I think that's a crazy part too is, this all goes down and instantly everyone's jumping to, oh, something's going on with Meta. It's a cyber attack from another country. Which we'll cover. But instantly the first response when people got back online was, so did y'all really freak out because Facebook was down for an hour and a half?
Uh-huh.
Like, where the hell would you have been 20 years ago?
Right.
You couldn't survive an hour and a half without Facebook.
Do you want to know what I did?
What'd you do?
Once I realized it was Facebook that was down, I'm like, all right, let's go for a car ride. Let's listen to some music. I put on AM radio. I looked for the one station, I couldn't tell you the numbers, that plays music. And I'm like, let's go. We're just going to drive. I drove around for like an hour and a half. It was great. First time I was able to do that in literally like almost a year.
Nice.
And it was just, all right, Facebook's down. That's fine. My car's not. Car's working fine. Let's go.
I was literally asleep. I got off of work that morning, went straight to bed, and then like I woke up maybe 2 hours after everything was like back settled normal.
Wow.
And I was scrolling and I kept seeing like the marked safe from Facebook blackout, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And Style was like, oh yeah, the internet was down there was like a blackout for a couple hours. And I was like, oh,
I'm just glad it wasn't raining. Because how would people know that it was raining? Because every jackass on Facebook, when it rains, hey, everybody, you see it's raining outside? You're just scrolling. Wow, it's
your
raining.
local community Facebook
Oh,
groups.
my God.
Anyone hear that thunder?
Those are the most obnoxious, stupid. If I see, and I'm going to call out Brunswick here, because Brunswick and Medina are the same way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Brunswick, Ohio. They think they're fancy. They're not. They're a bunch of hillbillies.
Do they think they're fancy?
I've
Brunswick?
heard that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have a 20-foot clock tower, and they think it's
Yeah.
the greatest thing ever.
They do.
It's a very overrated town. Lots of pizza spots. There's a pizza spot within like 10 minutes of anywhere you are in the city of Brunswick. So it's great, and it's good pizza, so I love it. But like DoorDash, awesome, because there's always pizza. Anyways, but like it's incredible to me, these city groups. If I see one more person, yesterday, we had some snow, right? We had some snow.
Yeah.
God forbid I did not clear off every bit of snow off my car. Didn't do it. I didn't. My bad. My car's really weird. The hood's got like divots.
Yeah.
So where I think the ice won't fly up and, fly behind me, it does. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. So I literally saw, I'm not exaggerating, 5 to like 10 posts of people like, we got to make sure we're clearing off our cars. It's unsafe. I'm going 25 miles per hour down 303, jackass. So you think that chunk of snow, it's not even ice, it's snow, flying back to the point it might hit your windshield is dangerous, but you're the fucking moron who wants to grab their phone while driving,
and
open
record
it up, and take a picture?
Yeah.
Like, that's more dangerous than the snow. Put on your windshield wiper. There it is. You figured out how to save yourself. You're gonna survive, I promise.
So here's what you do. Go to your local Facebook group, your Facebook page for your local community. You're probably in 2 or 3 of them. There's probably people bitching about trash pickup, trying to give away baby clothes.
Yep.
So what you do is you make a post in there and you say, anyone else hear this noise? And then drop a link. Drop a link to WSRR radio.
That was what I was going to bring up. That's one of my biggest pet peeves about those groups. It's did anyone hear that sound?
Every time.
Or what was that sound? And it's like...
The only place I will say that is effective, those groups, are small towns. So like when I lived in Lodi.
Yeah.
Lodi was cool because now it's atrocious. But then they only posted on big events.
Sure.
So it'd be like, hey, if you need food, come on down to the church. We're doing a free dinner this Sunday.
Right.
And then, so the problem, I don't know if they've upgraded it since then. Their power had not been upgraded since like 1965.
Yeah.
So if there was wind over 15 miles per hour, power's out. Everywhere in this small town.
But they'd probably be safe from an EMP.
Probably, and they would be safe to listen to the radio show.
We'll get back to that when we come back. WSRR Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pidge, here to remind you that I have another show called Beyond Bounds. This is a show where we discuss controversial, philosophical, and scientific theories, such as the creation of the universe, wormholes, and other sort of things that you can submit your ideas into the Styles for Radio Discord page under the Beyond Bounds tab. I really think that you guys would enjoy it, and this is a community-based effort, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the future, coming in this next 2024, every other Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hey everyone, Shayne here, the host of that show, Off Air. Check me out 3 p.m. weekdays on WSRR, Styles Rebel Radio.
The Artificial Intelligence Podcast is the only show written, voiced, and scored entirely by AI. All episodes are available now on stylesrebelradio.com.
Your dad didn't leave for cigarettes. He's out in the car, listening to the Rebel Radio Show.
Two 859-8699. Shayne, come home. It's cold out there. Sometimes we're worried about you, all right?
Apparently, he's with my dad listening to the show.
Oh, he's out in the car with
That's
cigarettes?
right, yeah, with
Oh,
the
okay, well, that
cigarettes.
makes sense.
I had no idea. It's been like 20 years, dude. Come back in.
So we talked a little bit about the cyber attack before we went to break, and the first thing I did after I, figured out what was going on was like, well, shit, if it's affecting AT&T/T-Mobile because it uses the same towers, is the station still on air? Because it runs off T-Mobile Wi-Fi.
Right.
So I ran to the studio and hadn't dropped for 130 some hours. Never had an issue. Never a latency issue. Never any kind of dropped signal.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. So my phone's not working right. Facebook's down. Everybody who has just AT&T is seeming to have an issue with their phone.
Right.
But my computer works fine at the station. No issues on the Wi-Fi there. So that was an interesting point. Then I start thinking about, okay, well, more on the logistics side of it. I know Shayne likes to phrase this question. He's done it on off air a few times of, well, what if there's an EMP? What if there is a cyber attack that takes out, most of modern technology? We talked a little bit about the power grid in your hometown before we went to break and how it runs off very old power, which isn't always a great thing.
Right.
However, if there was a cyber attack, that's probably the kind of stuff that's going to stay online. How many people have a landline anymore? Landlines will still work in a cyber attack.
Well, I remember when I worked at Verizon, the main thing was like, we'll always have, I don't know if this is the case now because this was 10 years ago, but they would always have 3G because the 3G part of the tower was in a lead box.
Interesting. Okay.
So if you have like just a basic flip phone, and if you ever wanted that, let's say something happened,
right?
You could that it's like *881.
Yeah,
and you can activate your flip phone if you have Verizon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Honestly, so I was thinking about it more and more. Doing research for the show, it's probably not a bad idea to either pay for a landline, which most internet providers will try to sell you a landline regardless.
Right.
And so I know, I haven't had AT&T for a long time, a couple years now. But when I first set up my AT&T, the plan was like, oh, well, it's $50 a month if you get internet and a landline. Yeah. I'm like, well, I don't need a landline, so don't come and install a landline. I don't want to pay for that.
But now you might want one.
But now I might want one. But that's usually the deal. Is like, oh, we have to either bundle cable or get a landline or something like that.
I think
so
we
it's
should
affordable.
I think we should bring back landlines, honestly.
I don't, the more I was thinking about it, what harm does it, because is it really going to be that much more a month for a landline?
Well, yeah, not even that, but think of this side of it. And I used to tell people this all the time when they're like, well, I just want to be less connected.
Sure.
I don't think I need it all the time. So get a flip phone and a tablet, a basic data plan, and a landline.
Yeah.
You're going to pay like $150 less a month.
Well, that was my next my next point too is like, well, even if you don't want to get a landline, like you said, I can go get a flip phone you can fucking get a payment plan for a flip phone still, which is insane.
It's like $3 a month.
Yeah.
On the payment plan.
Yeah, you can get like $3 a month for a flip phone. Don't ever have to use it. Just have it like in your car, right?
Yep.
And like, I think that's a pretty smart thing to do now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impervious to any kind of EMP strike, but like your basic cyber, like something like this, yeah, I wouldn't fucking put it past a flip phone to turn on and work better than my Android or my iPhone would.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me just because you don't need internet for it. It would just work off of the
tower itself.
Yeah, it would just work off the tower itself, off the radio waves.
Because that's the thing we don't really think about, I guess, much anymore is we had flip phones and slide phones and these basic cell phones, right? Normal cell phones, which is a weird thing to say now because, like, what is a not smartphone? What do you call it? Just a normal cell phone? But, like, we never had a concern about, oh, well, I don't have enough data this month. I don't have enough we'd look for service in bad areas with no towers, but like it wasn't, oh, there's no Wi-Fi here or there's no internet service. I can't use my phone.
And that's what like I try to explain to older people when we start talking about like cost of living.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when they were our age, it was TV package, which was maybe $2-3 a month, if that.
Couple channels.
And like I explained that to him, I go, but here's what you got to realize now. We pay for cable plus internet, and that's usually bundled together. So that's if you have a good package with good internet, $130 to $150.
Sure.
Let's put Netflix on top of it. That's another $15. Spotify on top of that. That's another $17 now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know, just add up everything.
Streaming services.
Right.
Yep.
All of that.
Car insurance.
And and like that'll throw you off a little bit when it comes to like the price of everything and how much it's going to end up being. Like just consider that where like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
A phone plan was, I mean, for 700 minutes, because you'd have free after 9:00.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was $5.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is like you don't even have to go out of your way to get, you know, oh, I got to go to Verizon and activate another line and pay for another line. You could go up to Walmart and get a track phone. You can buy, I'm sure you can still buy minutes. I'm sure I've still seen the cards of like this many minutes for $20, right? I might go to Walmart tonight and buy a track phone and buy, I don't know, 200 something odd minutes just to have. Because at that point, I do have a phone if something like this happens. I want to talk more about the cyber attack side of it too, because, you know, we talked about the AT&T thing a couple weeks ago. That was weird. But again, like Jake said, it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, something's going on. Keep overloading the fucking grid.
Right. I think that's what it was.
And
I really do.
You know, even years ago, it seems like AT&T's always had this problem. Specifically AT&T, I've always heard about outages with AT&T.
Yeah.
Sprint used to have it a lot.
Right.
Sprint got bought out Verizon. Verizon, they used to have shitty service.
Sprint got bought out by T-Mobile.
Oh, did they? And
Yeah,
T-Mobile got bought out by AT&T.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
My bad.
So that could even be
Yeah.
part of the issue.
Yeah, just shitty towers still.
Right.
But
upgrade your towers, dummies.
Well, I mean, how often do they actually do tower maintenance?
Oh, no, they only choose to do tower maintenance when I have a fucking radio show to do. And they do it for 2 weeks when they tell me it'll be 3 days. That's when they do tower maintenance, T-Mobile. So I know about their tower maintenance and I know about their 5G.
So real quick, when I worked at Verizon, it was crazy. We used to help the guy that would update the tower closest to us.
Yeah.
That dude made crazy money.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because like just changing the light bulb at the top of the tower, he'd have to do it once every 6 months. He would tell us, he'd be like, I literally make like $3,000 an hour.
Well, so I can't
climbing up the tower just for that job.
I can't speak to the cell towers, but I know a technician friend of mine who services radio towers.
Ooh.
And every foot he gets paid a set amount. Damn. So if he's climbing a 300 something foot tower, that's so much money a foot up and down.
Wow.
Plus on what he's making hourly.
Right.
Plus the part, plus the service.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that's climb tall things. That's how you get paid a lot. Don't get into radio. Climb tall things.
Climb tall things. Make big things. That's the American way.
Up with big climbing. This show is sponsored by Big Climbing.
Yes. Yeah. That's what that's what brought the Lo-Fi Pirate here was big
Dude, we're big climbing.
So, you know what's funny? it's like a little fun fact. There's a evangelist that used to live in, I don't know, I think it's
Hang on.
Canton.
Hang on. Do I need to reach out for this? Do I need to touch the screen?
No,
Okay.
he's long been debunked.
Wait, are you having
was fake.
Hold on, are you talking about Happy Jesus Morning guy?
I don't know what the fuck
Oh.
you're talking about, but
Dude, hold
let
on.
me get it.
Wait.
Let me get into mine,
Okay.
and then you can go to yours. Okay. So,
Happy Jesus morning.
I think it was North Canton area. There's a tall, like half-built silo,
Uh-huh.
and his vibe was he wanted to make a radio station, TV station at the very top of this like silo thing that had a elevator that went all the way down to like in the middle.
Sure.
And it was just crazy. That I don't really know where I was going with
No,
that.
we're
but it
talking about
was-
the same guy.
Are
yeah,
we?
yeah, he would come on. It was channel 43. He would come on channel. I still remember this because it would get stuck in my head. He's like, "Hello, everybody, and a happy Jesus morning to you." And it was great, dude.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he was selling holy water and everything.
Oh, so
else.
he was like the shitty
Oh,
evangelist marketing
absolutely.
guy.
But it was
100%.
great. It was great. I cannot remember his name.
But he contracted a bunch of people to build this tall thing, and it's like half built.
Yeah, it was half built, and it's just hanging out. I
Yeah.
think they're finally going to knock it down.
Really?
I
Well,
think
fuck.
so.
Let's go move into there. Let's
Well,
go
we
fucking
can't.
put the studio there.
They never built the studio part.
Oh.
they
So
got,
where was he broadcasting from?
I'm not sure.
His basement.
I think it was the Christian Network.
Well,
That
the
was in
studio.
Akron, Canton.
Really?
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Akron is big on evangelism.
Who isn't? Am I right?
I got
216-859-8699. If you feel so inclined, you can reach out and touch the screen.
Wow.
Just be careful because you might get some kind of radiation poisoning from your phone if you do that. Unless there's probably a way now. So the flip phone now, they make like new flip phones that have apps on them.
Right.
It's not touchscreen. You still have to use the pad, but they have like YouTube apps on them and shit.
Right.
There's probably a way to listen to the Rebel Radio Show on your flip phone.
Well, back in the
Probably.
day, they had VCast. Remember
Dude,
that?
VCast.
I had the LG Voyager that had the little antenna.
Oh my god.
And when they first started rolling it out, I was in high school, and I used to act like I was paying attention, and I'd have the earbud in my ear, and I'd be like this, and I'd watch the Indians game on channel 3 because that's when they were on KYC, and I'd have it up in my book, and literally my buddy would be like, "Turn your phone a little bit more," and I'm like, "I'm not doing that because I'm gonna get caught," and he's like, "I'll just tell on you if you don't." And I'm like, "Damn it!" So I'd have to turn it. But yeah, no, it was crazy. Like the fact, like, but at the same time, like, dude, that's what's in our pocket.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
That like, I don't doubt that like low sperm count and every ad you
yeah.
see about low T and everything
Yeah.
else. Because like, Mac sent me something about, it was like a skit
Friend
about
of the show.
Yeah, it was a skit about low T.
Yeah.
And ever since I opened that, every single thing that pops up ad wise on Instagram
Yeah.
is, here are 5 signs that you might have low T. Are you tired? Do you like to eat food? Do you listen to the radio in your car? You might have low T. Go to our website, take this test. And so, at one point
yeah.
you're like, all right, well, I got to see,
I
do
gotta see if
do
I have low T.
And apparently I have extremely low T because
Based on like your phone usage?
no,
Drinks
just in
you
general.
drink
Oh.
and stuff like that.
Well, but that's what's funny. Like, I drink energy drinks, but besides that, I drink tea and I drink water.
Right.
I really don't eat unhealthy
I
things.
really don't eat.
Well, honestly, I
just
don't.
drink energy drinks.
Right, and it's just crazy because everything's like, "Oh, you got low T, your testosterone low. You're gonna die. You're gonna die from low T."
Do you have low T? 216-859-8699.
Everybody, this is the Pidge, and I'm here to tell you that I hate everything that you send me, but I love it at the same time because holy shit. That's all I gotta say to that. If you guys don't know me, I'm the Pidge, and I'm one of the members of the Styles Rebel Radio page. You probably won't hear me as much on the Rebel podcast because I'm away in Arizona, but every month I come out with the show. Submit your stuff into the Styles Rebel Radio Discord page under the Pigeonhole section, and it will be featured on the next show. unless there's racial slurs. See ya.
Hey, Style here to remind you that StylesRebelRadio.com is a group of free content creators, and because of that, you may have noticed that we don't do a lot of ad spots between our breaks, and that's intentional. We're not here to shill out to off-brand cereal or promote crappy mobile games. We strive to give you quality, professional content without the repetitive marketing. That being said, if you like what we do and want to support the shows, you can always click the link in the Spotify description to help support us for as little as 99 cents a month. Now back to the broadcast.
You want the best local and independent music? We got it. You want evangelism talk? We got it. You want Shayne? We're looking for him.
We'll have him eventually.
If you know where he is, 216-859-8699. It's getting dark out, Shayne. I want you home before the lights come on. All right.
Good luck.
Good luck. We're back on the Rebel Radio Show. We're talking about this cyber attack, I guess, this outage for cell service and Wi-Fi and internet. But I want to get into the cyber attack aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because that was a big theory, and it wouldn't be the first time recently we've seen this. There was 2 weeks ago a cyber attack on Big Pharma. It was a major pharmaceuticals distributor, and so it affected most local pharmacies, CVS, Walgreens, things like that, where it wasn't even, so much as, we can't get the information because it's they couldn't take payments. They couldn't process people's prescriptions because of it. And this went on for 2 weeks straight where people just couldn't get their prescription medication because of a cyber attack. And they don't know where it came from still. They think it's a foreign country. But, that's a scary fucking aspect. And it's very real and happening constantly.
Well, this is why we need to dial back the technology side of it.
I agree.
Because as far ahead as we think we are, there's somebody else out there who's even further.
Not to bring it back to the AI conversation, because we do that all the time.
Yeah, but
it's that same concept of whatever AI we think we have, and as smart as we are opening ChatGPT and breaking it by giving it some kind of code, there's somebody with a lot more, even fucking terrestrially, there's somebody with a lot more knowledge on how to program that module.
Right.
That's going to do a lot more, and it's going to be a lot worse.
Well, it's been a problem since the year 2000.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm here from but think about it. Everybody was freaking out because of Y2K. Everybody thought Y2K, and everybody was freaking out about it. At that point, we should have been smart enough to go, we need to dial this back.
Yeah.
If we don't understand that computers are just going to switch over the year and everything's not going to be lost.
Yeah.
That should have been the first sign of we probably shouldn't be using computers for everything.
I'll take it a step further. We talked about Y2K during conspiracies. 43 years before Y2K, this was an issue, because 43 years before Y2K, when the first computers were still becoming mass marketed for businesses, Microsoft security experts brought up the fact that, hey, we're going to have a problem in 1999 when they try to go to year zero.
Right.
We need to install updates for all your major softwares so bank errors don't exist.
Right.
And launch errors don't exist. And things that matter won't have these issues.
Right.
And most corporations, because computers weren't, as prevalent as they are now, went, we're not going to spend an extra $1 million to update the computers that work fine for 43 years in the future. And that's why a lot of the issues that did happen in Y2K happened, is because we knew about it 43 years ago, but no, it's just computers. They'll fix themselves.
Well, and
we have the same mindset times 10 now of, it's just computers. It's just computers that control all of our launch codes and money.
Well,
it's just computers.
Because people don't care. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Sure.
Think about it with your bank, with your bank account. Let's say hypothetically, before you had the app on your phone for your bank, you never knew how much money you had.
Sure.
Because it was out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But now that you have the app, you see it every day. So you click on it and you're like, why do I have so little? But, that's what it is. It's out of sight, out of mind. So people don't care. But it is scary because you have, really, we don't know what all is on the server.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that because they hear YouTube, they think, that's a server of its own. No, that's on Google's server.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no telling what else is on Google's server. So if that goes down, what else is going down?
Right.
So I could even see it as it wasn't a cyber attack. It was a legit outage. and they just don't know how to cover their ass.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? They're going to blame it on somebody else because it's easy for companies to blame things on other people or other entities so they don't have to take the blame.
I'll say this as far as the cyber attack aspect goes. I don't think it's a cyber attack in the terms of where most people are going, oh, well, it's Russia or it's China and they're taking over our grid.
Right.
I don't think it goes that. I could be wrong. I don't think it goes that far when it's a T-Mobile tower and Facebook going down. However, there have been reports that, and again, they try to they try to increase the size of their fish quite often. But Anonymous tried to take credit for this as well. I don't know if it's them particularly, but I could see this being some kind of group that's like, hey, I found out a way to fucking take down the AT&T server or Meta server, because there are companies that exist solely to test the integrity of your website and servers.
Well, so then do it for real.
Yeah.
With it being Google and YouTube and Facebook, it leads me to think that maybe it was a hacker that was looking for passwords, login information. You know how many things you log in with Facebook or log in with Google? Like, you could store all of your passwords with Facebook, Google, and YouTube.
What was the Google social media disaster called? What was that?
Oh, there was Google Plus, and
That's
then there
what it
was there's a bunch of little side projects that did. Yeah,
but at the same time though,
add me on Google Plus.
That's really easy to hack.
Yeah.
Like they don't need to have an outage to do that.
And especially if the one consistent problem that everybody was seeing with Facebook is you are immediately met with your login screen and you consistently try to put in your login information, you're giving the hackers that information.
Right.
I will say that was a very, other than, cyber attack, that was one of the biggest things that came up was why I thought I was just being hacked, because how often have we talked about the fact that even still to this day, they're getting trickier and trickier in how they deceive you into them thinking that it is Meta.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, I told the story a couple weeks ago, every so often I'll get a notification on the Styles Rebel Radio page, and typically it's like, oh, your video has been flagged for content, right? It was that message from a page called Meta Page Support, and they had a fucking, one of the Facebook little tool icon things as the profile picture, and I clicked on it to see the notification, and it brought me to a post where 100 different pages were tagged, and there was a link to reset your login password.
Well, did you reset it?
I didn't. No. That's probably what caused the outage.
Probably.
Yeah.
Way to go.
But how many of those people did? And, that's something that's happened before in a, very similar format where I have clicked the link. I didn't put in my information, thankfully. But, that's all it takes to get that information.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think it's unfathomable that if it is a hacker group, if it is an Anonymous or a Lizard Squad,
Lizard Squad,
that they hack into Meta server and they're like, well, we could do all this shit and try to break into people's accounts, or we could just have them give us the information. What if we just throw up a fake login screen?
Yeah.
So then those people shouldn't have their Facebook in the first place.
Sure.
And if you're going to hack it, then do it right.
The first thing I thought of when I heard about the outage between all of these apps and whatever was the there's a solar flare that listen,
the sun, it got too hot.
No.
It shut everything down.
There's consistent solar flares that scientists have been worried about taking out our satellites and giving us a complete internet blackout.
I remember the solar flare thing. Because there was a big solar flare 2 years ago, and I remember that was the big because it's an EMP.
There's supposed to be one next year too.
Yeah, technically yes, it does have the power for to wipe out technology.
You know what
an
scares
EMP
me more
would.
than a solar flare? Rick Flare.
God damn.
Woo.
Not sponsored by Woo Energy, but we'd like to be.
Are you sponsored by Prime?
No, but we'd like to be.
Yeah. Are you still sponsored by that other energy thing?
No.
All right, good. Can we be honest about that?
Sure.
It wasn't great.
It was okay.
No, it wasn't.
It was okay at
No,
best.
it wasn't. It was one of those because I'd come over, you'd be like, dude, right? I'm like, to be supportive. It was not great.
So don't like the hydration packets.
Yeah.
Don't like.
That's why they're still sitting there.
Yeah, they are. But I did like that the Baja Lime was a very good energy drink.
Okay.
Voodoo was okay. I know Shayne liked the Voodoo.
What was Apollo?
Yeah.
was
Yeah, you
good.
gave me the sleepy time one. Didn't do it. I was like, no.
The packets weren't.
Yeah, the packets they don't hit.
Didn't hit.
Yeah.
But the drink themselves did taste a little powdery.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I never had like.
The can?
drink- Yeah, I've never had a
Oh.
can.
Okay,
So
that's
maybe
Yeah, no, the can is
problem.
leagues beyond the packets.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think they're putting into the carbonation?
Dreams.
The packet.
No, so I've heard the the solar flare theory before, because that was supposed to be an issue like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And like I get it, it does
Your
have
old
that
sponsors like the solar flare of energy drinks. It's not great, and everybody thinks it is.
power. Do people think solar flares are great?
Apparently, I mean, if they think that they're so great to take all this stuff out.
My bigger concern than a
Yeah.
solar flare is that people don't talk about the fact that nuclear fission and fusion would have the same effect. People think about a nuclear strike and then think of we're dropping a bomb on Hiroshima and the impact is the impact zone
Yeah,
of,
dude,
the warhead.
Dude,
hitting.
I saw Oppenheimer.
And that's what people think when they think about nuclear warfare.
Right.
But you can detonate a nuke at any level. You could detonate
Oh, yeah.
it way up in the fucking sky
Right.
and have it just used as an EMP essentially with radiation damage as a residual. Like that's a scary realistic thing in itself.
Right.
I'm more concerned about that than a solar flare.
I agree with that. Because it can do, and people are stupid.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand. I would say 90% of the population, if they have an understanding of nuclear anything,
Mhm.
it comes from Call of Duty
Or Fallout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's it.
I lived
that's
near
it.
the Perry power plant, so we grew up learning about that and what to do if it exploded.
Right. But like I didn't. Did you?
Sure, no.
Right. So shut up.
I'm sorry.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'll be over here, the little woman in the corner.
Listen, push your buttons, okay? And shut the hell up. So, yeah, solar flare your ass. So, I'm joking. You're doing an incredible job. It sounds
I'm gonna
great.
throw some dirt in your
Keep it
eye.
up. So,
But we don't need to go there. Is the scarier part is like that is a very viable thing, and I can see it happening.
yeah,
But with technology now, like we've seen, if this was something where it's a hacker group or a Counter Strike or something like,
it's more simple than that.
what is it?
Excuse me?
We don't know how 5G mixes
yeah.
with radio waves.
Sure.
We don't know how 5G mixes with 4G. We don't know how all of the, because it's just floating in the air. How does 5G mix with Wi-Fi? Do we know?
I don't even know how Wi-Fi works.
No,
so we've
dude.
talked about it.
It's an experiment. And I'm not doing this to be like, oh, we're human experiment. But we kind of are.
Yeah, no.
Like, we don't know what 5G does. Because I remember when 5G first came out and when they were testing it in the middle of BFE, and you see the power lines with 5G,
Yep.
and the trees, all of the leaves are dying around these power lines.
In fact, in 2019, you were here and we did a show about 5G when they started rolling
Did we
out.
really?
Yeah. We talked about 5G and a certain group that I don't want to name because we'll probably get taken down off YouTube now if I name them, but there's a kill list involved. But we talked about 5G during that too. It was October, and it was the first, like when people started saying, oh, we're going to roll out 5G coming 2020, coming 2021, right? We did a show on 5G. But that's another thing is like, you look back at 1983, and they had the big brick cell phones, right?
Yeah.
And all over, the only thing you'll ever hear if you talk to anyone who had one was, yeah, no, we were afraid they'd cause tumors, and, we'd wrap them in
Yeah.
tinfoil. I'm like, but that is somehow worse than what we have now when we have 3G and 5G and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi all in our pocket at all time, and we can
Just-
turn on and off and make a hotspot wherever we want.
Just because something is convenient doesn't mean it's safe.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's what we need to realize. The same way that a microwave.
Yes.
Like you still, if you're pregnant, do not stand next to a microwave.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll
Don't
stop.
do that. You know what I mean? Like those are the little things that just get dismissed now because of convenience.
Yeah.
TSA. If you're pregnant, don't go through
Right.
the
Scanners.
scanners.
Yep.
Have them pat you down.
Like
But
that.
because that's such an embarrassing situation, you're
Right.
bullied into it, basically.
But like, think you brought up 1983. So let's go through 1983. What did you have going through the air? Radio waves.
Mhm.
Okay. Is that it? That's about
Pretty
it.
much, yeah.
Okay. So let's
And
jump
appliance microwaves.
right.
Yeah.
So let's go to now. You have microwaves, you have Wi-Fi, you have radio waves,
Bluetooth.
you have Bluetooth, you have 5G, 4G, 3G. That's all in the air.
Yeah.
And the worst, going back to the solar flare, the solar flares create 5G and 4G storms.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if a 5G or a 4G storm was to hit the Earth, there would also be a complete internet blackout.
But what is their upload speed? No.
See, I could be wrong, and correct me if I am. 216-859-8699. But I'm pretty sure that's where we get the term G from. It was a unit of measurement for solar
Geometrical-
flares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5G, 3G, 4G were units of measurement from solar flare energy release.
Yes,
and now
sir.
we're using them as, well, how strong is your signal? I got 5G, baby.
Geomagnetic.
What?
Geomagnetic.
Interesting.
Gotcha. But yeah, and now we're using it of, oh, well, you're still on 4G.
Well,
You're slow as shit.
like it's crazy to me, and I don't know if you've ever talked about this on here, but your headaches with Bluetooth.
I've never talked about
Like-
my headaches or vomiting.
So,
with Bluetooth.
so when I worked at Verizon, that's when they started rolling out the 5G and everything.
Yeah.
In stores, if somebody uses a 5G hotspot when we're traveling, when I'm working, if somebody's in the back seat and I'm driving, they don't even have to tell me that they turn it on. I know when they turn it on because I get an insane headache.
Yeah.
To the point sometimes my nose bleeds.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm like, if you guys have 5G, you got it. You got to turn that off. I
I've
can't do it.
I've had like chronic nosebleeds my entire life.
Yeah.
And, like I've been vomiting and losing weight for the past year because of my headphones.
Right. Like that's what, like, people don't realize that. Like, we don't know. Just because it's okay for person A
Yeah.
does not mean that you are going to react the same way.
Well, I heard a great comparison last night, actually. I was watching a TED Talk about 5G, and that was the most intelligent thing I've ever said on the show. I was watching a TED Talk about 5G, just doing some studying in my free time, and they compared it to smoking. In 1942, we didn't know the side effects of smoking, and doctors were saying, yeah, smoke a pack of cigarettes.
Right.
See what it'll do. We've learned that now, and we still don't know everything about smoking.
Yeah.
We still don't know all the side effects. We know a lot of it now, but there's so much we don't know. We're not even there with phones and
Right.
how much I'm going to use Shayne's term since he's not here, exponential growth.
Yeah.
How much they've changed from your old brick 80s phone to your flip phone to your slide phone to now this. When's the last time you saw anyone without a fucking touchscreen on their phone?
Dude,
And we still don't know what they do.
let's video games.
Sure.
Let's look at video games. Look at the year 2000. Okay, in 2000 is when the PlayStation 2 came out.
Yeah.
Look at how far we've progressed, and that's just entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the smart people allow us to use.
Yeah.
So what do you think they don't allow us to use?
Right.
Now we're putting on goggles and we could go back to World War II, pre-whatever, Germany,
Yeah.
and look at the way Poland was before everything that happened. It's insane. And it's not, like I said, just because it's convenient doesn't mean it's good. And I'm going to add to that. It doesn't mean it's good or it's safe.
So let me ask you, and you might know the answer to this, and if you do, it kind of blows my spot because you used to work in cell phones.
Yeah.
We talked about Wi-Fi before, and we did study on the show how it works. It's just a transmission of radio waves in a short band frequency, and somehow that works with your phone. It's the same thing in Bluetooth, but in a little longer form. Do you know how hotspots work? Because to my knowledge, no one knows how these hotspots actually work and why we're able to send out more waves.
So it has a
and
SIM
that seems
card.
like the most dangerous thing.
Yeah, so it has a SIM card just like a cell phone.
Mhm.
And what it does is it takes the cell phone network, basically converts it into your phone at that point acts like a router.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the same way that a router takes that signal from the Ethernet cable
Yeah.
and turns it into wireless,
Okay.
it does the same thing. So it takes the network and makes it into an internet signal.
So I'll say this too, and I'm part of the problem with this. That is the way that Wi-Fi is going, is the hotspot route. Essentially,
Yeah.
your router is just going to become a hotspot.
Right.
T-Mobile unleashed Wi-Fi like a year ago, the home internet, and that's who I use. It's cheap. It works pretty good when their towers are up,
Mhm.
But I
Slick
was
dig.
so beyond confused setting it up because back in the day, you got your box, you got your router, you
Mhm.
plugged them into each other, you plugged it into the hardwire, and then you could either run your Ethernet to your computer, you set up your Wi-Fi, you make your code, right? No, you get one box, it's all in there, it's got a screen on it, and to set it up, you punch in a phone number. It's got its own phone number.
Yeah, so it's got a SIM card.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
just a hotspot essentially.
Literally.
which is insane to me that that's how we're going. And I know we've only got a couple minutes here in the first hour, but that's the problem with this modern technology is if an EMP strikes, I don't have a goddamn chance in hell of retaining Wi-Fi.
Then something else with that, they charge you a shit ton. It's the easiest thing for them to do. All they have to do is put this little card in. There's no work on their end. You're the one doing the work.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then they turn around and they want to charge you more for quote unquote convenience.
Sure. Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's ridiculous. And again, you keep saying, just because it's convenient doesn't mean it's good. I think that's the moral of the story here is we had things that worked. We had landlines that worked. We had flip phones that worked. And, it's a weird thing to be nostalgic for, but you don't see anyone standing in the yard trying to get a signal anymore. I know it's a really weird thing to be nostalgic for, but I have a very vivid memory of my grandparents live in West Virginia. They live on a mountain. They don't have any neighbors. I've told the story before. There's no cell service. They just got Wi-Fi this year.
Yeah.
So like I had a landline, had cable that came in a couple channels, and that was it for my entire life. And I have a very vivid memory of when GPS first came out, the actual GPS. Remember those before they were on your phone?
Turn left.
Yeah. My dad had a Garmin GPS.
The Garmin, dude.
And
Hell
he was standing out in the front yard of West Virginia, holding it in the air, just trying to get a signal.
Right.
Because it's satellite, right? Trying to get a satellite signal. That's another thing. We don't see satellite phones anymore either.
It's funny. So my parents have really shitty Wi-Fi. So I see them, if they want a better connection, if they're on the phone or something, they'll go to the window or go outside.
And that's what you do now. You try to get out of the way of walls because it's makes a clearer connection. You don't hold it in the air anymore to get your signal from the satellite. We've gone backwards.
Yeah,
we
honestly.
really have. There were probably ways to upgrade the satellite so we have better connection, but instead we're like, we'll put the satellite in your house.
Well, and we've gone backwards in just human development.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, it's so overused, but we're back to what cavemen would do. We're drawing pictures instead of words. We send emojis.
Yeah, we got emojis.
Yeah.
Like to show you're happy or you're laughing, you don't put, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Thank you. You send
I'm going to start.
You send a smiley face that's crying.
Actually, I say LMAFO.
Right.
Thank you very
right.
much.
But that's the same.
Backwards. You said that backwards.
I love that band.
It's FAO, not AFO.
But
I don't
you know what I
even
mean?
use the F.
But like we're going backwards.
Yeah, no,
like
you're
we don't
completely
use
right.
words. Like Simon and Garfunkel warned us about this. Like, they just did. They did. But that's exactly what's going on.
Let me help you out a little bit because as much as we're going backwards,
It's disturbing.
as much as we're going
Because
backwards,
they sing the song too.
as much as we're going backwards,
Yeah.
there is still part of society that's going forwards.
Is there?
It's called WSRR
Oh, Jesus.
Radio. It's live 24/7, 365. We're nationally local. That's right. Your favorite bands played worldwide. The very best independent
Make
and
the
underground
switch.
artists. Make the switch. 216-859-8699 is that number to text in. If you have any thoughts, if you're texting from a flip phone,
If you have any thoughts.
any thoughts at all, I want to know if you're texting from a flip. I want to know who has a landline. I think that's the question to ask is who still has a landline?
I did until like 6 months ago.
Who knows someone that has a flip phone?
Yeah.
I want to know what your thoughts are on getting one of those two things. 216-859-8699. You can text in or you can leave a voicemail for any of the shows that we've got here at WSRR Radio. Of course, the Rebel Radio show is live every Monday at 5 p.m. and you get the Rebel replays all throughout the week at 5 p.m. as well. But you also get replays of shows like Off Air that Jake Underwood's on.
Off air, yeah.
You get Pigeonhole,
show.
you get Beyond Bounds,
That's
you get
another one.
AIP, you
That's
get a
one
whole
too.
bunch of different exclusives
Bunch
at
of them.
StylesRebelRadio.com.
StylesRebelRadio.com.
It's the homepage for all of our great content. You get the
All
Showtime
of them.
schedules and more there as well.
Yep.
So make sure you're keeping up to date there. And
Keep up.
tuning in to WSRR Radio on Live 365 or
Live 365.
StylesRebelRadio.com. It's the home of independent music. We're saving underground radio. Until next time, I've been Radio's Rebel DJ Style. To my right is Jake Underwood.
Yep.
On the board is Jules.
Ha.
If you've seen Shayne, let us know. Peace.
My life has changed, the fields are rich when I know I'm sober.